Viewers, after the tragic death of a 26-year-old Anna Sebastian Perial, debate over the toxic work culture refuses to die down. As netizens continue to share stories of work pressure on social media, now politicians have reached out to the grieving family, assuring that they will take up the matter in the parliament. The Labour Minister has already initiated inquiry into this case and has said that depending upon the finding, they will take action in this particular case.
वाइट कॉलर जॉब हो या कोई भी जॉब हो, वर्कर्स हो या कोई भी लेवल के एम्प्लॉयज़ हो या देश के कोई नागरिक की मृत्यु होती है तो स्वाभाविक तौर पर हमें दुख होता है, होना चाहिए और उसकी तपास भी की जा रही है और तपास में जो भी तथ्य आएगा उसके आधार पर आगे कार्यवाही भी होगी.
Meanwhile, actor-turned-politician and Union Minister Suresh Gopi today met with Anna's parents and assured that concerned agencies will be roped in to probe the matter. Anna's father also confirmed that Gopi has vowed to take up the case in the parliament.
I've talked to Anna's family, her mother and her grandfather. All of them are very educated. And from all that information I could gather, I think there is something. Because the post-death participation by responsible people have been very unfair. And I think that has to be dealt with. And the concerned agencies will definitely be roped in.
The Honorable Minister Suresh Gopi sir visited us today, and we have all these things presented before him. And he said he will look into the matter and he will raise the issue in Parliament, and will do accordingly.
Now, viewers, Congress MP Rahul Gandhi too had a call with the bereaved parents, in fact talking about what happened with their daughter, and have assured Anna's parents that he will personally fight for this cause in his capacity as the leader of the opposition. Following this, the All India Professionals Congress had announced that they are going to launch a helpline for working individuals in the country and will also form guidelines for corporates to help develop a more friendly work environment. Then Congress MP Shashi Tharoor too took to social media detailing that he had a heart-rending conversation with Anna's father and has said that he would propose a legislation dealing with inhumanity at workplaces in the next session of Parliament. Remember, after she died, her mother penned an emotional letter to the EY India chairman alleging that work pressure and heavy workload really took a toll on her daughter, and emotionally as well as mentally and physically. After her letter went viral, netizens took to social media calling for accountability in the corporate environment, citing the statement made by Narayan Murthy promoting 70-hour work week. And this is the story that we have at this point in time. Joining us on the broadcast is Suzy Ben Shah, spokesperson of the Shiv Sena. We also have with us Dr. Nikul Patel, leader of the Congress Party. Good evening. Thank you very much for joining us here on Times Now. You know, it's a very, very important issue. And do you believe a law, Suzy Ben Shah, to ensure that there are limited working hours both in private as well as public sector is the need of the hour? Could you please unmute yourself, Ms. Shah?
My apologies. Good evening to all, and thank you for having me on the show. I think it is a very, very pertinent issue, especially for we women, especially in the white-collar corporate culture. In view of long hours, we women are always marginalized because we'd like to work for 8 hours and promptly go home to our family. So I do welcome that. But I do believe that these policies should be thought through, should be discussed, debated, Let us not have any knee-jerk reactions. Let us not take this emotional issue in a manner which is not tenable in law and otherwise. So there should be a discussion. We should talk it through. And yes, work pressure there has to be counseling at the corporate level. I don't know what the HR was doing of EY. Whether he was the HR was approachable to Anna. I mean, all these things, have to be looked into by not only limiting 8 hours, but the work culture,
Right.
having the counselor, having a way to redress, having a way to sound your concerns,
Right.
whether that was existing or not, and whether also there should be equal work culture for women as well as men.
Yes.
Just because she was, we women always have to work much harder to prove our point, to prove our caliber. Was Anna one of them? Just because she was a woman, was she asked to work late hours? All this has to be examined, and taking this horrible incident
Right.
as a learning experience into homage to Anna. We should work out a policy which is tenable. Congress is known, if you see in Karnataka, if you see in Himachal Pradesh, they have come up with various policies, whether it be for health, whether it be for
Right.
putting monies in women's accounts. They've all stopped.
So
let
a
us
policy that is tenable, something
Tenable in law
that
as
everybody will agree to, is something that you're saying is can be considered, but there should be discussions. Interesting point there, Ms. Shah. Requesting you to stay on with us. Dr. Nikul Patel, I'll come to you in just a bit. Viewers, it's also a show for you. The numbers are flashing at the bottom of your screen because this is a very, very important issue that we are discussing this evening, and we want your views as well. We have with us first viewer joining us on the broadcast. Neeraj is with us from Mumbai. Neeraj, good evening. What is it that you will like to say?
Very good evening, first of all, and my sympathies with the family of this particular young lady, who just lost her life due to work pressure. But I want to highlight the fact over here is that particularly in private sector, this is just one of the case, but n number of people are every day dealing with this, work stress. First of all, getting job in the private sector is very, very difficult. It has become very, very competitive. Getting job itself is very, very difficult. That
Yes.
is point number one. So point number two, after getting the job, to stay in that job, to survive in that job is even more difficult. You have to deal with so many things. There is work pressure. There is pressure from the colleagues, there are politics. There's a lot of stress, and I just want to highlight, the government role over here. Unlike the government sector employees, they have all sort of support from the union, and so they have job security. But in private sector,
Yes.
there is no job security. There is no job security at all.
So
If you
in private sector, there is no job security, and perhaps that also adds to this pressure of probably working extra hours. That's a fair point that you've raised, Neeraj. Thank you very much for joining us here on Times Now and sharing with us your perspective. We have another viewer joining us on the broadcast. Paul is joining us from Kochi. Good evening. Thank you for speaking with us here on Times Now. What is it that you will like to say? Briefly, please.
First thing, my condolences to Anna's parents for this, very unfortunate incident which did happen. The second thing, see, there has to be a platform wherein the higher-ups of any particular organization, they need to be addressed and they need to be contacted with rather, so that there is a system wherein they get to know what is happening even at the entry level. You understand?
Right.
So that has to happen, because as long as that doesn't happen, if there are some middle-level managers, middle-level managers, they can make an organization or they can break an organization.
Yes, yes. Fair point. Paul, appreciate you joining us here on Times Now and sharing with us your perspective. Dr. Nikul Patel, you heard the viewers, you heard what Ms. Shah has to say, and today we have also seen what Mr. Shashi Tharoor, the Congress Party's MP, has said. He has said that he's going to propose that there should be a law, not just for the private sector, but for the public sector companies as well, something that will have some kind of a fixed calendar for workplaces.
See, it's a good thought process by Shashi Tharoor, but I would like to convey that if you see public sector and private sector already, there is a time schedule. And if you see 10:30 to 6:10, that's for government sectors. And if you see private, there is a shift duty, regular shift, morning shift, night shift. Now that
But
culture,
that is hardly followed. I mean, we know people around us
that is
also,
what-
something that happened
that
with
is-
Anna too. You've heard the viewers also, that's hardly followed, because the concern is that, currently the situation is such, once you get into a job, it's also the pressure to sort of at times prove yourself, and you work extra hours, because that's how the culture has become today at workplaces.
Yeah, that is what I want to convey. As one of the viewer rightly said, that it's difficult to get into the job of a private sector, and to sustain that job is also a quite challenge that makes an employee or a candidate to work even more harder, leading to a stressful life. And what happened is really pathetic to an employee who worked like this and who is no more now. Congress as a party definitely is thinking in this positively direction, and Rahul Gandhi talk with the family. Also, Shashi Tharoor ji wants to bring some legislation. Let's see. But definitely the environment which now private sector is having, the HR as well as the corporate people or the board of management director has to thought in this way that if people are working in this stressful life, then therefore definitely some relaxation and norms which may not lead to such situation in the country, because any loss of life is ultimately loss to a country as well as loss to a institute itself also.
Absolutely. Fair point, Dr. Nikul Patel. I'll come back to you and Ms. Shah in just a bit. We have another viewer joining us on the broadcast. M. Radha is joining us from Bengaluru. Good evening. Thank you very much for speaking with us here on Times Now. What will you like to say about the suggestion that has come from Mr. Shashi Tharoor today on having a possible law to deal with toxic workplaces, having a fixed calendar at workplaces?
Good evening, madam. Yes, I do welcome. There should be a legislation bringing down the working, because no worker in private sector has any private life at all, madam. And they work so hard to gain the confidence of their top brass. But yet there are many people I know who have not got promotion despite working 20 hours. Can you imagine coming home and then again being put on calls from America, Australia, and all such stuff? So for whom are they working? If the institution is getting a profit, why can't they hire more people? And why can't they have 8 hours for one, another 8 hours for the other person to deal with their own institutional benefits?
Okay.
They should have it. And private life is as important as office life also, madam.
All right. Ms. Radha, appreciate you joining us here on Times Now and sharing with us your perspective. We have Dinesh joining us from Bahrain as well. Thank you for speaking with us here on Times Now. Dinesh, what is it that you will like to say?
See, I was just, hearing all these things. But what I want to stress is that, what is the HR doing? I am a person who was working with a contracting or an engineering organization in Kuwait for quite a couple of years, and our company's name is Qarafi National. There when I was working as a senior project engineer, and there, we had a security sort of thing, though it was a private organization. If anything goes wrong with us, we have a place to go and complain, and they will do the investigation. But now what is happening all around, globally, what I could see is everything is smoke and mirrors.
Okay.
The HR is only for a namesake.
Okay.
So
that's your point of view, Dinesh. Appreciate you joining us here on Times Now and sharing with us your perspective. Let me quickly take one more viewer. I believe we have Abek joining us from Ghaziabad as well, and then I'll go back to my guest for this debate. Yes, Abek, good evening. Thank you for speaking with us here on Times Now. What will you like to say? Could you put your television set on mute? What would you like? Okay, we'll try and reconnect there. Meanwhile, let me go back to my guests. Susie Ben Shah, you heard Dr. Nikul Patel, you heard other viewers as well. The question is, will a law, as Mr. Shashi Tharoor is talking about, really change things? Because we have certain labor laws as well, but we know how the situation is, especially in the private sector. And it's not the first time we have heard of a case like this. And then you also have people like Mr. Narayan Murthy who are talking about 70 hours per week.
Yeah. So, as I rightly said, as I earlier said, that, all this thing has to be thought through. When you come up with a legislation, it's all very well. We have so many legislations for whether it be sexual harassment at workplace, and so many like pregnancy rights of a mother's 6-day pregnancy kit. We also have to think, does this mean that it's going to be the corporates are going to employ less women? Because I'm sure it should not be, it should be gender neutral. Second, accountability and monitoring. Unless and until there is accountability and monitoring, especially in private companies, this is just going to be on paper. Now, is it tenable in law? So therefore, just working on the emotions of the family, flashing Rahul Gandhi speaking to the family, it doesn't serve any purpose. Here, the issue is whether the union minister has rightly said they have taken serious cognizance of the matter. Mr. Gopi also has gone there. Let there be a debate. Let us think. Also think the companies which follow 8-hour working work hour, are they going to get any tax breaks? Some incentive by the government? It is only then it will work.
Okay.
Let me understand, because it is one person.
So are you saying that this is some kind of a photo op that we are seeing from the Congress party side?
Absolutely.
Dr. Nikul Patel, how will you respond?
The issue here is that maybe the women will be very, very happy.
I got your point, Suzy Ben Shah, but Dr. Nikul Patel.
Sir,
Dr. Nikul Patel, please. Dr. Nikul Patel, please. Is it just photo op that we are seeing, or do you think actually Congress party means business in this case and really wants to ensure that things change as far as the private sector and the working hours are concerned?
Actually, this is not a matter of politics. It's a matter of concern with the people who are working in the private sector, and we all know that how private sector is flourishing everywhere. Now it's a matter of the working environment and the culture that every human being is facing right now in the country. The legislation may bring some sort of protection, but over here Congress don't want to do any politics over here. If we see Narendra Modi is telling that I am working 18 hours a day, so that doesn't the politics, or we cannot say that he is working 18 hours a day, so every Indian has to work 18 hours a day. See, 8-hour culture, definitely it will be good for everyone. And if it is being followed by we can say that by faith or by law, then it will be in the larger interest of the people of the country. And being leader of opposition, Rahul Gandhi had rightly pointed out, and talking with the family is its constitutional right. I don't understand why one should do for politics for same. It's a matter of responsibility to talk with the concerned family. If union minister can come out and discuss, then why not Rahul Gandhi can talk with the family of the person who is affected?
Absolutely. Okay, quick response, Ms. Shah, then I have to go to the viewers as well.
See, as far as the Mahayuti government is concerned, right, at the center and here at Maharashtra, we have initiated a committee who would understand how and where and whether it is tenable in law. What the Congress party is doing is just dishing out formulas without any study, without any understanding.
But at least if you see the intention seems to be right, Ms. Shah, isn't it?
Absolutely, I do agree.
If they are talking about bringing up this issue in Parliament, isn't it good? Because people are complaining of long work hours, toxic workplaces, and if Mr. Shashi Tharoor today has said that, as an MP, he's going to, propose a law which will ensure probably that, there is a week with just 40 hours, and those who are not adhering to these, there should be provision of some kind of action against those people. I mean, how is it wrong, is my question.
No, it is not the question. It's not the question of being right and wrong. It's the question of, it just should not be a jumla. Okay. As many such Congress schemes have been, they've just dished out jumla and the schemes have stopped. Okay. So therefore, it's very much a wishful thinking.
Okay. I'll get the response from Dr. Nikul as well to what you're saying. But before that, ma'am, we have 2 more viewers joining us on the broadcast. Let's also listen in to what the people are saying. Rohit is joining us from the national capital. Good evening, Rohit. Thank you for speaking with us. You're on Times Now. Yes. Go ahead.
Good evening. Thank you so much for taking my question. Now, just the way, in response to the Vishaka committee, we have something called the SHP box, the She Complaint complaint box, right? These are the first steps that should be taken, because of course Dr. Shashi Tharoor has said that there should be a legislation in place, but that's going to take time because he's going to introduce as an MP's bill, and then it will be debated, threadbare, and then passage through both the houses. All of that ratification by the president. First things first, you should have a complaint box which should be monitored by the Ministry of Labour and Environment, and nothing less than something at the secretarial level, actually.
I think that's a fantastic point that you have made, Rohit. A basic complaint box. Why wait for the parliament session also? A basic complaint box that's monitored by the ministry, by the Labour Department, that can really bring about a lot of change. Thank you very much, Rohit. Really appreciate you joining us here on Times Now and sharing with us an interesting suggestion there. I'll get a response from my guests also. But before that, Sandhya is with us from Bengaluru. Good evening, Sandhya. Thank you for joining us here on Times Now. What is it that you would like to say?
Yeah, ma'am, not only with this particular company, this is everywhere. In fact, lawmaking, law firms, their working hours are more than 16 hours. When they come back, they say it's 5-day week. But when children, they come back home, they have to work from home on Saturdays and even on Sundays also. So when law firms, those who understand the law, they are implementing this, then what can you expect from others?
Okay. All right, Ms. Sandhya. Appreciate you joining us here on Times Now and sharing with us your perspective. I have very little time left now on the show, so I would like to take very quick closing comments from both my guests. Firstly, Dr. Nikul Patel. The point is, why wait till, the parliament session? Perhaps, like what Mr. Rohit, one of our viewers, suggested, something like that can be done immediately. At least where there is a possibility. Why not push for that?
Yeah, definitely government should come with a prompt action, and any helpline number or mailbox or complaint box will be a good suggestion and good initiative. But only legislation can bring some more control over the, we can say that working hours which what private corporate sectors are facing right now. And it's a matter of the entire country.
Okay, so you still feel legislation is something that is important, that's needed in a situation like this. Quick closing comments, Ms. Shah. If this comes in the parliament, can we expect support from all political parties? Because it is about, the youngsters, the people of this country, and we are talking about demographic dividend that India has. We're talking about it not just here, but to the world as well.
Absolutely. It should be debated. It should be given to the standing committee, and it should have a watertight, we should have a watertight legislation with proper accountability and monitoring, and also some incentives for the company from the government to ensure that it is adhered to, because it is impossible for the government to get into the businesses of each and every company.
Right.
So unless until there is win-win, the win-win can only happen if both the private sector and the government shake hands and believe that 8 hours is the right to working hours for the nation at large and the young employees.
All right. Thank you very much, Suzy Ben Shah, as well as Dr. Nikul Patel. Appreciate both of you for joining us here on Times Now on this very, very important issue. And that's going to be our focus ahead as well on Times Now.